Hi everybody, it's Craig here with this week's Tech Tip Tuesday, and I'm up at the top of Mount Majura at the moment. We've got the tracking station there and just a bit of a look around, and there's quite a few insects up here, so you'll have to bear with me if I'm swatting them away. So yeah, so I want to continue the series that I've been talking about, which is what do you do when you get a new computer. So we've talked about connecting it all up, we've talked about getting on social media, but this week I wanted to actually talk about getting wired up to the internet. So if you're starting from scratch, you're probably not sure what to get, whether you need a modem or a modem router or whatever it is that you need, a Wi-Fi hotspot, a range extender, all these sort of terms. So in order to connect to the internet, you need some sort of modem, basically, which is an interface between your computer and the phone line. So these days there are a number of different alternatives. Probably the main ones that I'll cover are ADSL, the NBN, and VDSL. So ADSL stands for Asynchronous Digital Subscriber Line, and that basically allows your computer to use the copper phone line with a digital signal. It changes it to analog, and then it works its way up to the internet. So ADSL2 is the current standard, and yeah, most people, or a fair percentage of people, I'm not sure exactly what the numbers are, but are still on ADSL, and they're either transitioning to the NBN, which has actually just arrived in our area just recently, or they're going to VDSL2, which is what I'm on. So the NBN, as we know, stands for the National Broadband Network, or no broadband network, as some people say. But I mean, the idea of it, I guess in principle, is good, that everybody's going to get a minimum standard of broadband. So that's being rolled out across the country as we speak, going into different areas. The newer areas tend to get it straight away. Some of the older areas, unfortunately, particularly like the Tuggeranong area here in Canberra, sort of in between having the old Transact infrastructure and being on the NBN. So it's using either fibre to the premises or to the street, and depending, there are various factors that will affect your speed, but typically you're supposed to be getting 20 megabits per second or above, as opposed to the probably 2 or 3 megabits that we get on ADSL at the moment. The other alternative is VDSL2, which is operated by IINet through the old Transact infrastructure. VDSL stands for Very High Bitrate Digital Subscriber Line, and I like to refer to it as ADSL on steroids. So still using the same methodology, but it's quite a heck of a lot faster than the standard ADSL, and it's already using existing fibre technology, and it is, as I said, a lot faster, but not all areas of Canberra, and I guess the rest of Australia as well, for that matter, are able to get it. So it is a little bit limited, but if it is available, I certainly suggest that you look into it, and you can actually contact me about that. So the link will be at the end of this video. So they're your alternatives for what's out there. Various ISPs can provide NBN as well. So for the most part, it's a bit like cars. I like the car analogy. So you know, if you're used to something and it's working well for you, then it's probably best to stay with that, unless you know that a competing provider can give you a much better deal. For in your home, the internet speed will vary on a number of factors, but if you're using ADSL, make sure that your modem is as close as possible to the wall socket, and the phone cable itself therefore is as short as possible, because the signal will degrade if it's over a long phone line. It doesn't matter so much for the, well, it doesn't matter really for the Ethernet cable at distances under 100 metres, because there's not really any degradation of signal there at all, but it is with the phone line. When you're considering where to place your modem, try and make it, firstly where the phone line is, but as central as possible. So if you're using it for Wi-Fi, so you're using it as a router as well, then you want to try and get maximum coverage throughout your premises. If that's not always possible, then you can look at a Wi-Fi range extender, which they're generally pretty cheap, usually between $50 and $100, maybe a bit more if you want something a bit stronger. But ideally you would plug that into its own power point somewhere down the other end of the house, and that will fill out the Wi-Fi signal in the areas in the house which don't get a strong signal from where the router is normally. So there is a bit to think about, and there's the configuration as well of your modem router. Generally that will be taken care of you, but it's not always. So as always, you can call on your friendly neighbourhood computer geek to give you a hand there. We're certainly happy to help there. So it isn't quite as bad as or as scary as what you might think, but yeah, you do need to make sure you know what you're doing too. So I've probably rattled on quite a lot here, so I'll leave it for now, because there's a lot to talk about as far as the internet goes. So this is Craig the Computer Geek signing off for this week on the top of Mount Majura, overlooking the northern suburbs of Canberra, and we will see you in next week's Tech Tip Tuesday. Bye for now and take care.